This video is about why most brands don't make it past year 3. Not because they weren't talented, not because they didn't want it bad enough, and not because they didn't try. Most brands don't fail because of one big mistake. They fade because of small decisions that compound over time. Today, I want to walk you through the patterns I see consistently. The ones people don't really talk about while it's happening, but they realize in hindsight. If you're building a brand, a business, or something that you really want to last, this conversation matters. Year 1 is usually driven by excitement. There's energy, there's momentum, there's that validation from starting something new. Most people can survive year 1 because effort carries them. They're willing to work long hours, they're willing to sacrifice, and they're willing to push through discomfort. Year 1 rewards effort. But effort stops working after year 2, and by year 3, effort without structure becomes unsustainable. This is where most brands struggle. Not because they stopped caring, but because the same thing that worked in the beginning no longer supports growth. One of the biggest reasons brands don't make it past year 3 is because activity is mistaken for progress. Posting more, launching more, adding more products, saying yes to more opportunities, none of this guarantees stability. In the beginning, movement is gonna feel like momentum, but if there's no clear system behind it, the business starts to feel heavy instead of focused. So here's something important to understand. Growth without structure creates pressure, and structure without growth creates stagnation. And year 3 is usually when that imbalance starts to show. This is the moment where most founders realize that movement no longer moves the business forward. Another major issue is the lack of a clear money path. Many brands generate income, but they don't have a clear understanding on where that money is actually coming from. They don't know which product pays the bills, and they don't know which offer sustains the business. They have no idea what happens if one stream slows down. Without that clarity, every decision feels stressful. Marketing becomes reactive, spending becomes emotional, and growth becomes inconsistent. And by year 3, the lack of predictable revenue structure becomes exhausting. And that exhaustion leads to poor decisions. This is the quiet part that people don't like to talk about. Most brands don't fail because founders make bad decisions. They fail because the founders delay making necessary ones. Keeping the wrong contractor too long, staying in the wrong location too long, holding on to ideas that no longer make sense. Avoidance feels safe in that moment, but delayed decisions accumulate interest. So by year 3, those delays show up as poor cash flow problems. By year 3, those delays show up as cash flow problems, missed opportunities, constant stress, and lack of confidence in the business. So this isn't a motivation issue. It's a leadership issue. Another reason brands don't make it past year 3 is because they were built to look successful but not function well, which is essentially beautiful brands without margins, and growth without systems, which is essentially beautiful branding without margins and visibility without infrastructure. Early attention can hide structural problems, but attention just does not fix operations. And by year 3, appearance stops carrying the business. And what's left is whether the foundation can actually support what you're trying to build. Burnout doesn't always look like quitting. Sometimes it looks like continuing without clarity. Founders start to feel disconnected and they stop trusting their instincts. They avoid parts of the business that require focus. And that's where the brand quality declines. Not because the founder gave up, but because the business is no longer designed to support them. Longevity requires systems that support decision-making energy. Without that, even successful brands, they struggle to survive. So if you're building something right now, I want you to pause and I want you to ask yourself these questions. What part of my business actually produces consistent revenue? What decisions have I been avoiding? What systems are missing that would reduce daily stress? What am I still doing out of habit instead of intention? These questions matter more than motivation. They determine whether your system can support growth or collapse underneath it. Longevity is not accidental, it's designed. I'm sharing this because most people only talk about success after it happens. They don't talk about the middle. They don't talk about year 2 fatigue. They don't talk about year 3 pressure. But that's the important part. This is where real brands are built. So if you're still here at this stage, you're not behind. You're just at the part where clarity matters more than speed. In the next video, I'm breaking down how we're rebuilding Zeus and Lexi without outside help. In the next video, I'm breaking down how we're rebuilding Zeus and Lexi without outside help, and what that actually requires from a business standpoint. Not the surface stuff, but real decisions. If you're building something that you want to last, you're gonna want to see that. Until next time, bye.